And there are several people in this room, members of the video crew, Dr. Barone, and other guests. Sean, tell us the war and branch of service that you were in.
I was in the U.S. Army during the Iraq War.
And your rank, sir?
The highest rank I got was a corporal, but I retired a specialist.
And where did you primarily serve?
I spent the majority of my time in the Army at Fort Riley, Kansas, and I spent 14 months in Baghdad, Iraq.
Now we're going to go back a little, we're going to jog your memory a little. So we're going to go back and look at some of the issues when you first joined the service. Obviously, you were not drafted, but you enlisted.
I did. Enlisted.
Where were you living at the time?
In Richfield, Connecticut.
And why did you join?
Coming out of high school, I wasn't really thrilled about the idea of 4 more years of college, or 4 more years of schooling, but going to college. So my father had been in the Army, his brother had been in the Army, so it kind of fit something else to do, so I went for it.
Why did you pick the particular branch of service you picked?
Again, my dad was an infantryman, my uncle was an infantryman, so I wasn't going to go in and do anything else.
Okay. Do you recall the first days of service?
I do. I started basic training on my birthday in 2005, and the rest of it is just a big sandy blur, like running, jumping, carrying duffel bags, lots of sand. We're in a sand pit in Fort Benning, Georgia. Just lots of sweating, very little sleep, no food, a lot of running.
Do you have any other experiences that stand out in your mind at that point?
Basically, that's the whole 14 weeks of basic training, was sand and running and sweating and not eating a lot. That was the
Do you happen to remember any of the instructors that you had?
Yes, I do.
Can you?
Drill Sergeant Leonard was the name of our head drill sergeant. We had Drill Sergeant Everson and Drill Sergeant Truax, who helped him out. And those are the 3 from my platoon. I don't really remember many from any of the other platoons.
Okay. Anything in particular you remember about each of them?
Drill Sergeant Leonard would come in at like 4 in the morning. And when he's there, you gotta get up. So we'd have to get up very early on the mornings when he would come in. So every 3rd day we get to sleep in, or we get woken up a little earlier. The other 2 days we get to sleep in about another half an hour. The other 2 were pretty level-headed, like to teach rather than just shout at you all the time, but Drill Sergeant Leonard was in charge, so it was more shouting than anything else.
How did you get through that experience?
Looking back, it wasn't that hard. Just kind of wake up every morning and do what you're told, run where you're told to run to, shoot what you're told to shoot, sleep when they let you sleep. Looking back, it wasn't that hard. I kind of made a bigger deal about it than I think I should have, but
Why?
At the time, you're so stressed, and you realize that these things that you're doing are not actually that difficult. Running 2 miles is not that hard. And so you just kind of get through it. You make friends pretty quickly, and so you just kind of get through it like that. You don't want to be the one friend that gets kicked out or gets sent to another company because he couldn't pass whatever phase of basic training. So you just kind of do it because your friends are doing it, go with the flow.
Let's move forward and talk a little bit about the experiences that you had. Now, you said you were in the Iraq situation.
Yes.
The war. Where specifically did you go?
We were stationed in Baghdad, Iraq for the majority of the tour that we were there.
Mm-hmm.
We were right south of the airport road. We were in the most dangerous neighborhood in the world, statistically speaking. We were told that by an AP reporter like the day before we went in, so kind of set a bad precedent. And we spent about 2 months in Taji, which is north of Baghdad, about an hour and a half north of Baghdad. And in Taji, we were doing aerosol missions. We would fly around in helicopters whenever there was a large fight or something that they needed a little extra help. So those are the 2 places that I stayed in Iraq.
Would you spell Taji for me, please?
T-A-J-I.
What was your MOS?
I was an infantryman. I was 11 Bravo. And I was a team leader, and I had been sniper qualified and demolitions qualified, so I kind of ended up getting all the rough details.
Why do you think they were the rough details?
Blowing something up is not a fun experience because one wrong move and you're going to lose your fingers or your hand. And the whole sniper job, that business was just kind of wears on you after a few missions.
Do you remember when you arrived in Taji? What was it like?
Taji was nice. I mean, we got to Taji, and it was a big base, lots of food. When we arrived at Fob Falcon is where we lived the majority of the tour.
Okay.
Fob Falcon was about 80% mud and like 20% rocks. So when we got there, we sloshed through like knee-high mud for about an hour with all of our bags on our back, getting to these tents that were 100 years old. It was a rough first day in Iraq, and we got mortared that morning, so we got a real wake-up call as soon as we got there.
Was that a typical day for you, or how would you describe a typical day?
A typical day, it's tough to describe because you go out probably twice a day, but it all depends. You would go out, say we had a patrol in the morning, we'd get up anytime in the morning, we'd get up, get the trucks ready. We lived on an outpost in the middle of the city, so we never had far to go. We'd get up, drive to whatever neighborhood we decided we wanted to check out that day. We'd drive around, kind of wait for contact, see if we saw anything out of the ordinary, talk to people, interact with the locals. And then we would come back for, say, lunch or for dinner. Or if we had a raid that night, we would get to sleep in during the day and then be up all night planning this raid. We'd go out for an hour, hit whatever house we were supposed to hit, hopefully capture whoever we were supposed to capture. A typical day is hard to nail down because every day was so different. We would go out for an hour or two, or we would go out, we'd be stuck out there for 11 or 12, or we'd go out there for 2 days. So it's tough to nail down a typical day, but it was mostly the same stuff, patrols, raids, things like that.
And combat, did you see active combat?
We saw pretty sustained combat. Probably the first 4 months, it was basically an everyday thing. Somebody would shoot at us or throw a grenade or launch a mortar at us. Kind of cooled down as the surge progressed, as we were there, which was nice, but there was pretty sustained fighting the whole time.
Did your unit sustain casualties?
Yes, my company had an 80% casualty rate, 80%. And that's not 80% killed, that's just 80% either killed or wounded. So we had some casualties.
Okay. Could you tell me about one of your more memorable experiences related to that?
We went out one day on a normal patrol, just out in the morning, hoping to be back by lunch. And one of our Humvees got hit with a rocket-propelled grenade. Grenade lit the truck on fire. We thought we put the truck out with the fire extinguishers. Seemed okay, nobody was hurt. Put everybody in one of the other trucks. We towed the truck that had been hit. And as we start driving, an IED hits that truck that we're towing and catches fire again. So as we're driving, we've got this flaming Humvee behind us on like a 6-foot tow bar. As we're driving, the things in the truck, there's a lot of ammo and grenades and things in the truck. They start exploding and all of a sudden our truck catches on fire. So we've got 2 flaming trucks driving on the highway. We stop one day, we stop under one of the bridges, get out, we run to the other 2 trucks, and there's not enough room. You know, they fit 5 people, and we have now got 10 people without seats. So one of the squad leaders steals an Iraqi police truck. And we load up in the back of the Iraqi police truck and we drive back to the base, but you can't get onto the base in an Iraqi police truck. They'll shoot at you. So we go running into the base, and that was one of the, nobody got hurt. We got through the gate, kind of looked around, a couple people banged up. My sleeve had been lit on fire when I was trying to help somebody, but nobody really hurt. So we all just started laughing. We just laughed for about an hour, just kind of sitting there laughing, eating dinner, just joking around. Our commander came in and was like, "What are you stealing Iraqi police trucks for? Like, wait around until somebody comes and helps you." Kind of got yelled at there, but that's one of my more memorable experiences.
Let's move forward a little and talk about what was going on in your life and your family and other issues that were going on. How did you stay in touch with your family when you were in Iraq?
It was tough for my platoon. We were stationed on an outpost, so mail would go out every 3 days, and if you had time, you would write a letter. We'd go back to the FOB, the forward operating base, probably once a week and use the phones. But when you get there, there's a line out the door to use the phones, and when your option is make a phone call or take a shower and eat something warm, you're gonna take a shower and eat something warm. So parents didn't hear from me a lot the first few months, which they had a lot to say about, but wrote a lot of letters, sent a lot of, eventually we got the computer at our outpost, so we started sending emails.
Okay. You mentioned food. What was food like at the FOB?
On the outpost, food was very tough to come by. We lived out in the middle of nowhere. Nobody wanted to drive out to get us or to bring us food because it was a dangerous neighborhood. So we kind of relied on the Kurdish army who we were stationed with. We ended up eating a lot of pigeon and chicken and cats and things. Gotta eat something.
Did you have, other than food shortages, did you have other supplies that were in shortage?
Yeah, we had the only thing that never really ran out was ammo, which is good. But we didn't have a lot of soap, we didn't have running water, we built our own bathrooms. So we eventually started getting these boxes of Iraqi soap, like detergent, and we just dug a hole in the ground, put this little kiddie pool in it, and just started washing clothes in that. Supplies are pretty tough to come by, but luckily ammo and morale were pretty high, so you can make do.
How many were in your unit there at the club?
At our outpost, it was one company of about, I would say probably less than 100, maybe 80 people guarding this outpost. We had 3 Bradleys, which is the bulk of our defense, and about 80 infantrymen. And we did a pretty good job. They tried to take the base back from us a couple times, but we got it. We kept it, which is real good.
Did you feel a lot of pressure and stress while you were out there?
Yeah, stress was pretty much all we felt while we were out there. Stress and exhaustion, and occasionally relief. But stress was, I'd say, the major emotion that we suffered.
You mentioned relief. When did you feel relief?
Coming back in, going back to the base, taking a shower. You see somebody get hurt, and then you see them get back up. Pretty relieved.
Did any of you have good luck charms? Or did you have anything special that you carried with you?
A lot of the guys carried Bibles. You get small little Bibles from the Gideons when you get into country. So a lot of guys carried those in their body armor somewhere. My friend Nick's mom gave me a little angel pendant, put it on my dog tags, and that never was not on my person. So that, looking back, was a pretty good luck charm. I had a little, I don't remember what it's called, one of the Saint Michael pendants. I'm not Catholic, I don't really know where I got it, but I kept that in my body armor. So it must have worked, I came back all right.
How did you entertain yourself when you were out there? What did you do for entertainment?
Your friends are really the only entertainment you've got. Like I said, we lived in an outpost. We had cots and we had scorpions. So it was kind of up to us to make our own fun. Just a lot of joking around, goofing around. We had a backyard that was just full of dirt and debris, so we kind of cleared that and would play football every now and then. And really just your friends. When you're kind of that secluded, you make do, you joke around a lot, make a lot of movies. We'd go back to the base, sometimes we'd shoot a lot of hoops, go to the gym, watch movies, we'd go get bootleg movies from the Iraqis.
Were there any professional entertainers that came by?
We heard about it. We lived on an outpost, so I never really got to see him. I saw David Allen Greer in Kuwait, the guy from In Living Color. And Toby Keith was at the hospital one time after a buddy of ours had gotten hurt. He tried coming into the waiting room, high-fiving everybody. Our buddy just lost his leg, so we're not really in the high-fiving mood. Comes in, tries high-fiving everybody, saying, "Hey guys, what's going on?" And my platoon sergeant stood up, told him to get out of the hospital. Made him go stand outside, almost made him cry. That was really the only entertainer we met, and he almost got beat up.
Did you have leave?
I did. I got 18 days of leave in November of 2008.
And where did you go?
I went to Connecticut, I came home, went to Massachusetts. Just kind of slept and ate it away. Relaxed, hung out with family. Didn't really do anything outrageous, just kind of hung out, kind of laid low, unwound a little bit.
Sean, can you explain to me or tell me, often I hear about pranks and humorous things that go on. Can you explain a couple things that happened that were funny while you were there?
I can. All kinds of pranks. Like I said, you kind of do what we had to do to entertain ourselves. So, one of the things we would do is if it was your birthday, we found out it was your birthday, there's a good chance you're going to get handcuffed to something. Kind of get handcuffed to something, get doused with water, just that kind of stuff. We would do a lot of, with the trucks, we'd end up taking radios. If you left the door unlocked, which you're not supposed to do, we'd steal the radios. So if your squad left the door unlocked, we'd go in there and take everything, and the next morning you have to explain where everything went. That kind of stuff, just joking around, getting other people in trouble for your own amusement.
Other things?
You know, I don't know. I think that's one of the things, if I got together with a group of my friends, we could sit here and list off 1,000 of them, but sitting here by myself, I just can't remember.
All right. You mentioned you have a lot of photographs. Anything in the photographs that would be outstanding that we should know about?
A lot of pictures of just living in the slums in Baghdad. A lot of pictures of kids. We lived right across the street from a school, so lots of kids. I have a Newsweek cover that I was on, which might be neat. I got just lots of good pictures of cars blowing up and people shooting at stuff.
Did you interact with the children a lot?
We did.
Can you tell me an experience that you had?
We had the leader of the neighborhood that we lived in, which was called Jihad. The leader of the neighborhood had 2 young daughters. So we would go over to his house all the time, kind of just talking to him, saying, this is what we're going to do this week, this is what we were kind of hoping that you could help us with. He's in charge of the spiritual well-being of that whole community, so we want him to be an ally, or we want to be friends. And we were over there one night, and I was just sitting downstairs while the lieutenant talked to him. And his daughter was trying to do her English homework, couldn't do it, couldn't figure out whatever she was doing. So me and a couple guys sat there and helped her with her English homework. We would play a lot of soccer with the kids. They'd come into the base every now and then to clean up, just, throw them some dinar and give them a job, give them a place to be safe. So they'd come in and sweep, and then we'd play soccer for a couple of hours. A lot of times just walking on, the kids would just kind of follow you, asking you for pens or pencils or candy or chocolate or anything else. Anything but Pop-Tarts. They won't take Pop-Tarts. They've had enough of Pop-Tarts after 6 years of war. They just don't want Pop-Tarts and Gatorade, they just don't want it anymore.
Where were you getting the soccer balls from?
I don't even know, we would get garbage bags just full of soccer balls to give out. They were from somewhere in Iraq, I don't know what council or who gave them to us, but we would get just garbage bags full of soccer balls and a pump, and we'd blow them up and toss them out the window on patrol, give them to the kids who came in, and they had a little Iraqi flag and a lion on it. So you'd see them kicking around all the time, which was nice.
Okay. Did you keep a personal diary of any sort?
I did. I have a few books full of notes that I took when I was a team leader, raid notes, things like that, like coordinates and stories and funny board drawings. I've got a couple little notebooks full of stuff that eventually I'll go back through and take a look around, see what I find.
Do you recall at all when your service ended, the day specifically?
I do.
And what did it feel like?
The day that we landed back in the States was just overwhelming. That was fantastic. Really tough to describe unless you've ever gotten out of prison or come home from a war. And the day that I got out of the Army, recently, last January, I sat in my car for about 45 minutes and just stared at the paperwork and said, discharged on the stamp. I just kind of sat there in awe of what had just happened. I've been wanting it a long time. After we got back, I kind of lost my interest in the Army. I'd done all the stuff that you see in the commercials. I was like, all right, ready to get out. But it was a long process, so the day I got out, I remember it very well. Just a surreal feeling. I went home, and that was it. I came back, I packed up my stuff, got in my car, came back to Connecticut.
What was your reception when you came home?
Great. Mom was thrilled. No more war for her son. Dad was thrilled. It was great. I got real bored when I came home. The first week, I just remember being so overwhelmingly bored, sitting at my mom's house. So I booked a one-way ticket to Germany, and I just kind of backpacked around for a few months. Spent all my money.
Where did you go in Germany specifically?
I lived in Stuttgart with my friend, and from there I kind of bounced all over Western Europe. And I booked a one-way ticket to Croatia, just backpacked from Croatia down the Balkans to Greece, and then I flew to India, hung around there, and then went to Nepal, and I taught English for about a month. And then I got sick with food poisoning and had to come home.
What made you want to come back to school then?
I didn't know what else to do. I figured I'm going to get a great job with a degree. I probably won't get a great job just being 24 and having a high school diploma, so I wanted to learn something. I've been out of academia so long when I was in the Army that I just kind of craved it, wanted to get back into a more structured, studious lifestyle, and it's worked out. It's been interesting. It's been a change for sure, but I've enjoyed it.
Are you using the GI Bill?
I am. It's been great.
The
I
911?
try, yeah, the post 9/11 GI Bill. I try to tell all of my friends who get out, it's the best, you're going to make a bunch of money. There's really no excuse not to do it. So, all of my friends have used it, I'm using it, so it's a great program.
Did you have any close friends while in service? And are you still in touch with them?
I am. I've actually got about half a dozen people coming to stay with me next weekend, old friends from the Army. Yeah, you make friends that you could not see them for years, and you would go back to the same day that you left. Either you're friends forever, they're not, yeah, they're never going to go anywhere, no matter how often you see them or how rarely you see them.
And have you joined any veterans organizations since you've been out of service?
My grandfather signed me up for the VFW. I don't really know what I don't really do anything with them. I don't know what I would do. Go to the bar, I guess. But that's, yeah, I signed up for Iraq and Afghanistan veterans to hopefully get my paperwork back here soon. But other than that, just the VFW.
Okay. After the war, you came back and went to school. What do you plan long-term to do for a career? Have you any plans yet?
I have no idea. I still think I can be a professional basketball player. I'm sticking with that.
When we talk about military experience, many times it influences somebody's life. When you think back about the war and about the military in general, what are your thoughts?
I look back at it much differently than I would have ever thought. I hated it when I was in it. You know, it's no fun. You can yell that all the time. You got to be up at 5 in the morning. It's no fun. But looking back at it, what a fantastic opportunity to really learn about myself and about just about things that I would never learn about going right from high school to college to a career, career to family. I've got this 5-year gap where I just really learned a lot about myself, about the world, about people, and I wouldn't change it. I don't stress things as much as I imagine people my age do because I've been under unbelievable stress. I appreciate things more. I don't get as bugged by little things because what's the point? There are always negatives that come with it. I don't sleep as well as I probably would if I hadn't had all these traumatic experiences. My hands tremble. I don't know why. But overall, it was a good experience. It was certainly something that I learned a lot from, if nothing else.
What do you think the most important thing is that you learned?
The most important thing is probably that you can't take things for granted. Waking up in the morning is something that we all do every day for countless days. But like, I've seen my friends not wake up the next morning. So I wake up every morning and I kind of consider it, you know, not something that's always necessarily going to be there, you know. Young guys, 19-year-old guys have been killed, cut down, you know, in the prime of their life, and I don't take that for granted. That's the most important thing, I think.
Okay. You mentioned you had joined the VFW. Obviously, are you involved with the Veterans Group on campus?
Here, yes, I am. I go there and finish my homework and print things at the club here. I do some of the meetings with the other vets here on campus, yeah.
Okay. That's good. Do you think the veterans experience has, or the service has affected your life in general then?
Absolutely. I think I'm a little bit more mature than I would be if I hadn't. I look at some of my classmates that I graduated high school with. I'm like an older, more mature person. Yeah, it's affected me. I'm a little bit wiser, I think.
Okay. Is there anything else you would like to add that we haven't covered?
I think programs like this are great. I think that in 20 years, 50 years, 60 years, these will still exist, so it's a good program. I'm glad I got involved with it.